We've got a plan for the first time in a long time, and we've got commitment to achieving that plan. The team that's represented in this room is going to be unstoppable as we bring that to life.
Just 2 weeks into the job, and General Alexus Grynkewich, the new Supreme Allied Commander Europe, has given a keynote speech at the 2025 Land Euro Conference in Germany. It was a 15-minute address that was followed by questions from reporters.
President Trump said that some Patriot systems from Germany are already on their way to Ukraine. Would you be able to please tell us the status of these transfers and what other weapons, including offensive weapons, that Ukraine will be receiving and when it will be getting those weapons? Thank you.
Yeah, Emma, for reasons of operational security, I won't go into a ton of details on any of that. I'm not going to reveal to the Russians or anyone else the exact numbers of weapons that we're transferring or when those will happen. But what I will say is that preparations are underway. We're working very closely with the Germans on the Patriot transfer. And the guidance that I've been given has been to move out as quickly as possible.
General Grynkewich acknowledged that Russia wasn't the only threat. He also referenced the growing counter-terrorism threat on the southern flank of NATO, the ongoing fighting in the Middle East, as well as threats in the Indo-Pacific from China.
They're a decisive enabler of Russia's war in Ukraine. Russia is also supported by North Korean troops. Who would have thought that we would see North Koreans fighting in Kursk? It's unfathomable, and yet it's happened.
General Grynkewich warned of the very real prospect of the simultaneity of conflict across the globe.
The simultaneity of conflict, right? This is the idea that a war in Europe could happen at the same time as a war in the Pacific. And those of you who listen to our great Secretary General Mark Rutte have heard him say that, you know, the thing Xi's probably going to do before he decides to go across the Taiwan Strait is give his friend Putin a call and ask him to help. That to me means that both of these things could happen together. We're going to need every bit of kit and equipment and munitions that we can in order to meet that. And we've all heard the year 2027. That's just 2 years away when we think that Xi could be ready to make his move and that phone call to Putin might come. So time is of the essence.
General Grynkewich said there was good news, though, that for the first time since the 1960s, NATO actually has a strategy, a recommitment to collective security. And underneath that strategy are the plans.
These plans are the foundation, not just for what the fight is going to look like for warfighting and exercising, but they're also a template for our modernization efforts. They can tell us exactly what capabilities we need to be successful in executing those plans.
It was at the end of June that NATO countries agreed to increase defence spending to 5%, a commitment to getting what's required into the field.
Future pledges are no longer enough. We need things to start showing up in the armies and in the air forces and in the navies of the alliance as soon as they can.
You said you'd like to have industry deliver capabilities as quickly as possible. Can you get a little more specific? Maybe give us your top three?
If you look at say a Ukrainian brigade and the types of capabilities that they can bring to bear, how do we get our brigades to have the same level of capability where we could match what they're able to do today? So from a land forces perspective, that's one key place that I think we've got to focus. A second area of focus for me would be on air defense. There's never enough air defense. You always want more, but that's an acute requirement, whether it's counter-UAS or counter-ballistic missiles. And then the third area that I'd focus on is long-range fires, whether they're delivered from surface to surface or delivered air to surface. We need the capability to hold things at risk that are in the deep in order to affect what's happening on the front lines.
General Grynkewich said it was the leaders in the room that he was addressing that could make it happen, by holding both industry and themselves to account in getting the capabilities. So both new and emerging technologies, as well as legacy technologies that are still relevant on the battlefield.
Industry has some real incentives that are in place with a commitment to 5% of GDP, 3.5, 1.5. Investing in the things, I mean, this is a sustained commitment of spending from NATO leaders. So I would ask industry folks who are here and elsewhere to realize that that sustained commitment should be a powerful signal to do the things you need to do to expand production lines, to increase R&D spending, et cetera, so that we can get to where we need to go.